Welcome to this video on the Zenwara channel. My name is Sri Satguru, Buddha Roa Bhagwan. In today's video on the channel, we're going to talk about Limpia cleansing. We're going to talk about the flower path. The flower path is one of the paths of the land. So they're identified usually with flowers, right? And it is a lineage of the land, and it is the path of flowers, and it is a path of preservation, a path of healing, right? As there is also the path of clay, there is the path of stick, which is a path of war. There is the path of leaf, which is a path of war. And there are different lineages and paths of the land and of healing and of different types. So we're talking about spiritual paths. We're talking about mystical paths, if you want to call them that way. And when we're talking about Limpia, we're talking about cleansing. So as you go through life, there's things that can connect to you and touch you, enter your auric field, etc. These can be spells cast to you by a negative spellcaster. Something you bump into, for example, pick up a hook that you pick up or something like that. It can even go into more serious spells where the spell enters you, not just your auric field and attacks you, but actually enters you and penetrates you, and then can lead to a form of possession from that spell as well, and different things like that, and different entities that can be attached to those spells that come and possess you. So you can also pick up stories that cling to you and weigh you down, right? So you can be weighed down as well. And these things that follow you, these curses, well, they affect your life, right? And the repercussions of your life and the situations of your life and all these different things. So Limpia is a method traditionally of cleansing someone from negative energies, right? And there's different types of negative energies. They can come from, for example, the evil eye. They can come from different types of energy transferences that come and affect someone from someone else, you know. People can also have things that drain them, for example, right? So you can be drained and all these different things. There's all types of nasty things that can be sent on an individual, all types of creative nasty things that can be sent. And Limpia is a method of cleansing that's done by traditional healers and other types of healers, of many different types of beings of power or less power. Try it as well. And depending on the power of the being that is doing the Limpia cleansing and the power of the spell, well, the person who's doing the cleansing either succeeds in removing all the negative energy from the individual or does not succeed and basically can make it better if it's not fully succeed, and basically can try again over and over again until they basically succeed. But there's different lineages that practice Limpia cleanse. Okay, so you can traditionally recognize Limpia with the herbs that they brush the body with. Okay, and do different types of things. You know, some use an egg and move the egg around the body. Some use a fruit or a coconut and move it around the body and smash it on the ground after that. To symbolize it being removed. But there's many different techniques. There's cleanses with smoke that are done as well. Cleanses with herbs, with oils, different types of things. Also cultures can be introduced and different things like that through smell or things like that too. So there's many different types of cleansing. And depending basically on the practitioner that's performing the Limpia, it'll determine the style of the Limpia and what is done. So there's different types of Limpia that can be done depending on the practitioner and the path. The path of flowers is one of the best paths to go to Limpia. So there's a tradition of path of flowers that can be found on YouTube. You can see about them. Nahuatl healers and the path of flowers. And they're installed in different places, and one of the places where they're installed is in Catemaco, Mexico, in the woods, in the jungle, there's a healing, traditional healing of the path of flowers, and they can be identified with the flower embroidery that they have on their dresses, traditionally, when they wear that, when they follow that path, and they're aware of that path. So there's a path there, and then basically disciples of the head practitioner there, and people learning of this path. And this path exists in different places in the land, and people are practicing this path of flowers as healers. And one of the things they do is Limpia cleansings, right? It's one of the practices they do. Now, there's different types of ability within the flower path too, as there are within all paths. There's some masters and there's some apprentices and levels in between, right? So it's important to know that. So when you go to a healer, if you choose to go, for example, to the flower path for healing, which is a traditional path of healing of the land, and I don't want to do marketing for them here and increase their sales, but this is a really good place to go for healing. But even amongst them, even amongst the flower path, right? If you're looking for healing really that you can't find anywhere else, a spiritual healing that you need to get, there are different levels of practitioners even amongst the flower path. So there are some that can see, and there's some that have more difficulty seeing. So the ones that have more difficulty seeing might use, for example, a dowsing instrument or something like that to try to see, to try to better understand the condition that's affecting someone, right? But then there's some higher levels of practitioners that can actually see visually the curse when they look at an individual and can see it moving if it's inside, or see it affecting the aura and different things like that. So there's different levels of ability and practice within the practitioners traditionally of the flower path as well. And this is the same within all paths. All paths, whether it be path of clay, path of war, path of sticks, path of leaf, which are paths of war, or whether it be, for example, path of water or path of fire, right? Or different paths like that. There's different lineages, there's different paths. The path of flowers is one of the beautiful paths of the land, one of the beautiful paths of healing, that a gift to the land and to the people of the land, the people who follow the path of flowers, right? The path of healing and preservation, right? And the path of war is, the purpose of the path of war is to protect the paths of the land, the path of flower and the path of clay. And the path of clay is a path of creation. And the people from the path of clay are often a little bit, they're unique in their own way, the people that follow the path of clay, they're often very simple and almost gullible people, but they have great ability in the path of clay as well. Then there's the path of water, right? The path of the storm caller, the path of fire, right? Which is speaks for itself, right? And different variations of different paths of the land, right? Paths of the land. So yes, so there is the Limpia cleansing. So depending on the ability of the practitioner doing the Limpia cleansing, it determines basically the success potentially of that Limpia cleansing and cleansing everything that was there. Some things might be cleansed, but some things might be left over after the Limpia cleansing, because some things are very nasty and some things have penetrated very deep. So if you unfortunately fall on a practitioner that cannot see, okay, well then, and all practitioners can see to different levels of ability, okay, so they can see some things, but maybe not all things, right? So if they're dowsing or something like that, well, that can still be a great practitioner, a great cleanser, okay, but it's easier for something if they can't see to slip by them, to slip past them, so if you come back a repetition to that healer, they can probably catch it, but maybe they don't catch it on the first time or something like that, because the dowsing instruments can basically be influenced too, right? So that's one of the problems with the dowsing instruments, especially if you're bringing them inside the aura of a curse, right? So something can hide from them potentially. Okay, So there's different Limpia cleansings. So what happens is you sometimes have a cleansing, for example, and then the thing is visually seeing. Like I, for example, can see the curse in an individual, and I can see it moving in an individual. If it's if someone's trying to take it out, you know. So for example, a form of possession that has entered an individual, or a curse that's around them, you can see that visually if you have developed those abilities. So you can visually see those things. So I can see, for example, if there's a curse within a person, a possession, you know, if I was trying to take it out, I can see when it's trying to jiggle around and trying to move about, you know, because some curses are phasing and shifting. So, you know, if you go to behind them and you try to remove it from behind, it goes to the front, you know, and then the minute you go to the front, it moves to the behind. It shifts, right? Very tricky and slippery curses that can affect individuals, so it's difficult on the healer to catch them all, right? But the path of flowers is your best bet. If you want to go for healing and a traditional path, that's a good path of traditional people that are there to heal people, find the traditional path of flowers, and you can find them on the internet, on YouTube, and get their coordinates and things like that, and search for them if you're in search of that spiritual healing that you really need, you know, because they're there to offer those services. And I would recommend leaving them a great tip as well, right? Once you've been cleansed. So the path of flowers is a great, great, great option for healing for those that are afflicted by strong things that are afflicting them. Okay. Now there's other paths that practice healings as well and do different types of limpias and all that. But the thing is, you really want to trust a limpia practitioner. They surround you, they can circle you, you get inside, they can do it everything. You put yourself under their control spiritually. Basically, you let them do whatever they want to your auric field and all these different things and within you. So it takes a lot of trust, you know. And I could say that my recommendation personally, as Vishnu, the all-pervading one that sees all things, is to go towards the flower path. That's a great path to go to for healing if you're looking for those types of healings, rather than going to someone that might have ulterior motives if they want to themselves put any energetic hooks within you or anything like that. Okay, you have to trust the healer that you're going to use, like you trust a doctor. Like a doctor has been professionally accredited by the country, you know, by the state, by organizations of medicine. The same thing for a spiritual healer. You have to trust them. So my recommendation is the path of flowers. If you can find a true practitioner, and if you can find the better practitioners within the path, they're all really good, but if you can find one that can see, then that's an advantage as well, you know, because they'll might be able to catch something that wouldn't have been caught by one who has to douse or something like that. Okay. So it's different abilities that they even develop, you know. Maybe one who douses and all that might develop the abilities further to see in different ways, and maybe maybe she or has a different path, for example, and different specialties and abilities in which she's really good, you know. So the path of flowers is a great path. Okay, a great path to go for healing for those who are really seeking spiritual healing, and they can go find a practitioner of that path. And once again, leave a good tip. Okay. Apart from that, Limpia cleansings can be very difficult because sometimes there are things within the individual, not just attacking their auric field, within them as well. Forms of possession, forms that have entered them, and that shift within them and can basically control them and control their thoughts and control their actions and all these different things. So there are different forms of possession as well. Things that can enter, right? Beings that can enter. And they're very shifty and difficult to take out. And if you can't see them, then you don't know that they're there because they're hiding. And they'll hide from a normal Limpia cleansing, right? So more has to be done for in those cases, in the case of a possession. So Limpia cleansings are done in different ways. Different practitioners do it in different ways and have different techniques to do it, and sometimes more is required, but basically the idea is that you put everything you got when you do a Limpia cleansing to really cleanse someone. It's like an operation from a doctor. You know, the doctor is going to put all their skill and ability in it to do it, you know. to do it properly and to get the operation done. You don't slack off in cases you don't, you do the proper thing. So the path of flowers is a great path. Okay. Great path of the land for to go for healings, and there's other people that can do healings as well. Okay. I also have the ability to heal, as many beings of power have the ability to heal, right? And to different levels of ability. So at that point, it becomes a question also of, what are they trying to heal, and what type of power was the being that it came from, and how long has it been within the individual, how integrated and penetrated has it become, has the individual's inner shields completely collapsed, or are they still resisting? Is it a full possession or not? There's a lot of different things, what is it, some type of demon possession or something like that. So there's a lot of different things that can take place. So Limpia cleansing is a method of cleansing, and it can be done to different levels of success depending on the success of the individual doing the practice. And different practitioners use dowsing techniques and stuff like that, but there is the possibility also of, finding the master of the teacher of those practitioners who might have a better ability in some serious cases to handle it than one of the students. But the students are also excellent. It's just that, if you can get the master to do the healing, that's like getting the best doctor, specialist, with the best success rate of all of them, in a doctor operation. So Limpia cleansing, okay, it's a method of cleansing yourself. It's a method of ability, but the thing is, there are those who can see the curse, and there are those who cannot see the curse, right? So if you can see the curse, you can fight it easier than potentially if you can't see it. But sometimes the person who can't see it has the ability to fight very well the curse, but the curse has more facility in hiding. And what happens is dowsing mechanisms can be corrupted in the application of a curse, because some curses are very powerful, some demonic forces, and they can come and interfere with a dowsing mechanism that's just brought in on the spot in a Limpia cleansing. So you think that you bring out a dowsing, and you think you're routinely thinking, oh, it's okay now because I did the cleansing. No, it's not. You're not doing your dowsing properly. You're not seeing that that's been corrupted, and that there's actually still a being hiding within that individual that you were cleansing, that you did not manage to withdraw, right? Something's still there, still within them, and that's usually the case when there's been a full collapse of the individual's energetic shields, in the case of a full possession, okay? And that can be a hiding possession, a slippery possession that's hiding, okay? Or it can be a constant possession, but once you have a fully integrated possession, it hides itself, right? It hides itself very, very, very effectively, and the individual might have a little remnant that brings them to the healer feeling, oh, I really don't feel well, like something's really wrong. But the healer might not be able to, with a normal Limpia cleansing, withdraw something from someone that has penetrated them and integrated with them in a possession form, right? So you can actually see, when you visualize, look at this, when you see, for example, someone doing a healing and there's something within them, you see it moving and shifting potentially within them, avoiding the part that's being healed, shifting about, moving to the front, moving to the back, avoiding the cleansing, right? So these are when you have situations of possessions within individuals that are resisting cleansings and stuff like that. So then you have to go into more serious levels of cleansing to get rid of those things within those individuals. You have to go in and you have to do a deep operation. I'm going to leave it at this on this video. Some information about possession and Limpia cleansings. Thank you for listening to this video on the Zen Warrior channel.